I spent the vast majority of 2024 and all of my early 20s, for that matter, stressed out. I was stressed out the whole time. The whole time. I had this overwhelming feeling of instability, and it made me feel unsafe. I hated feeling unsure about my future, about my career, about how I would even go about building anything resembling a career at all. Through most of 2024, nearly all the jobs I applied to rejected me or ghosted me, and this was the hardest year for me as a content creator as well. The impending TikTok ban felt like a heavy cloud hovering over me. I tried everything that I could possibly think of to bring my audience with me to other platforms, to salvage whatever I could from the TikTok page that I had worked so hard to create for the sake of a mission that I felt really strongly about and still do feel really strongly about. But in the end, none of my efforts truly worked. I remember going about my content creation, going about my business, and going about my job hunt with a sense of desperation. Like, what is gonna happen? I need to make something happen now. Like, right now. Like, yesterday. And I definitely think that my viewers and followers could sense it. It reflected in the content that I was making, and I lost a lot of followers because of it. If you were there watching me during that time, sorry you had to say that. I really am. I was just grasping at straws, you guys, trying my best to figure out a way to make something work, to make something stick, so that I could have something resembling a career, something resembling financial stability or security. Trying my best to get my life together and to make it happen very quickly. I felt like I was running out of time. I look back on that feeling like weird and dumb. Like, what do you mean running out of time? But that's how I felt at the time. Like, it felt like I was running out of time. I felt like such a failure for even getting to such a critical point in the first place, to the point where I needed to move with this, or felt the need to move with this air of desperation. I turned 25 back at the start of the year, so way in the beginning of 2024. I still remember how I dreaded the weeks and the months leading up to my birthday. My gosh, I not only felt so behind in life, so behind my peers, but I felt like I never had fun. I never went out, I never partied, I never traveled, I didn't date, and it wasn't because I didn't want to do those things, but because I literally couldn't. It just, given where I was living, my financial situation, and just where I was mentally and emotionally, and just doing whatever I could to change my situation, it just wasn't possible for me. I lived most of the year pretty much kinda in the middle of nowhere, far away from my friends or anyone that I even could get to know in that way. And I was really scraping by financially. It was a year where I had to just literally just keep my head down and do whatever I could, whatever it takes to change my situation, to try absolutely everything, anything and everything to turn things around for me. It was by far the biggest test of my faith, of my mental health, of my emotional well-being, my self-esteem. Oh my god. It's the biggest test I have ever faced in my life. But I faced it. I survived it. I somehow clawed my way to the other side of it, and now we're in 2025. And somehow I think I came out better for it. I like this new version of myself that came out of such a dark time. Let's talk about the good that came out of 2024. For me, anyway. Number one, I deepened my relationship with God. Whenever I pray, I always say, Lord, you are my Father, you are my teacher. My relationship with God has always been something I kind of kept private and kind of close to the chest. Even though I would say I come from a more religious and more spiritual background, it was always something that I felt was very sacred and kept sacred to me. God has this beautiful way of seeing me exactly where I am. loving me exactly where I am, yet at the same time, lovingly challenging me to not stay there. You know what I mean? To keep moving. Rest when you need to, but always keep moving. It was something that I deeply needed this year, and something I'm deeply grateful to have been able to experience, especially with all the hardships that came about. So I'm really grateful for that. Number 2, I learned patience. Oh my God. I learned me some patience. Ecclesiastes chapter 3, verse 1 says, "For everything there is a season, and a time for every matter under heaven." My patience was definitely tested. And it honestly still is being tested, to be quite honest with you. Oh gosh, I had to learn to just surrender to the season that I was in. Even though I didn't want to accept that this was the season I was in, I had to just accept it. Even when I was in the middle of it, still not even knowing or understanding what the season even is and what it was even for. I had to just learn to accept and embrace where I was and adapt to it, which was so important. Number 3, the third good thing that came out of 2024, I learned how to be a loving friend to myself. For nearly 3 years, pretty much ever since COVID, ever since COVID happened and everything was shutting down, I spent 90% of my time alone in my room. Even though I'm an introvert and love my own company very much, I really do. I love being by myself. I think I am a hoot. I love my own company. That's a long time. It's a long time. And I started to feel a bit isolated and alone. But that silence and that space, they were both so important and necessary for me to grow. It showed me who I truly was when I had very few people around me influencing me in my decisions. It showed me all of me, the toxic parts of me that I need to heal and show love to, as well as the brilliant parts of me to bask in. And I learned how to love and show love actively to all these parts of myself, including the bad parts of myself that I would normally prefer to hide and ignore and bury. And it taught me that even those parts of myself are deserving of love because they are opportunities for me to learn and opportunities for me to heal and opportunities for me to grow. The method that I used to master this whole process is something that I like to call empathy letters. And I want to talk to you about it, talk to you guys to see if you guys think this is something that might be helpful for you. The idea kind of came to me while I was praying. And the idea was to map out a very clear formula, what exactly empathy feels like to me specifically. When I'm upset or insecure or feeling just negatively about myself, and someone is to show me the precise ideal type of empathy that I would like to receive in that moment, that would be most helpful for me, what is that? What does that look like? Can I create a formula for myself for that? And that's essentially what I did, I created that clear formula of what it looks like and what it feels like to me. And I kept that formula for the entire year. And whenever I felt upset, whenever I felt insecure, I would use that formula to write myself something like a love letter, but in this case, it's an empathy letter. Oftentimes, the act of writing the letter alone is enough to help you feel better right then and there in the moment. But the important thing is to keep it somehow, so that when that feeling or when that insecurity starts to bubble up again, you immediately have an empathy letter that you can read or that you can access to get the specific empathy that you need in that moment to feel better. You have it right there with you. I like to record mine. I write them down and I like to make a little voice memo on my phone so that I can play them wherever I am, whenever, you know what I mean? It's just right there on my phone. So here's my empathy letter formula for what empathy feels like specifically to me. If it works for you, awesome. But yeah, let's get into it. It's acknowledge plus validate plus relieve pressure plus support. Let's get into all the different parts. Acknowledge is a space for you to acknowledge how you're feeling and really put it into words. So for example, I might say something like, I know you're feeling anxious about your upcoming interview, or I know you're feeling nervous about the state of your career, or I know you've been feeling lonely lately and deeply want to find love. Speak as though you are talking to someone else. Like you're a person who noticed that their friend is going through a tough time, and use this time to express and explore those feelings and emotions that you are feeling in as much detail as you would like. Validate. So, this is the section of your empathy letter where you validate those feelings and tell yourself that those feelings are completely valid, completely normal, or completely understandable, that they make complete and total sense. I often use the phrase, I felt those feelings too, right alongside you. And I do this because I often feel like I'm crazy and I don't deserve to feel the way that I do. So this section just kind of grounds it in like, no, you're entitled to your feelings. They are valid feelings. And talking to myself like a friend in that way, like, oh, I felt those feelings right alongside you, just has a way of making me feel like I'm not alone, even though I literally am. Like, I'm talking to myself. Like, it just has a way of making me feel like I'm not alone. As I also mentioned that there are probably so many other people in the world feeling the exact same way. So, yeah, that's all really helpful for me. Relieve pressure. So, when it comes to negative thoughts, negative feelings, insecurities bubbling up, I usually not only have the negative feeling, I also feel compelled to do something about it right then and there. It may lead to bad decisions because that isn't coming from a very calm and grounded place. And if I feel like I can't do anything about it in the moment, right then and there, I usually feel bad about that too. So, and then sometimes you may even feel compelled to kind of bully yourself for not being able to do whatever you feel like needs to be done. The point is, whatever pressure that you're feeling right now, on top of the negative emotion or the insecurity, whatever extra stuff you're feeling, this is an opportunity to kind of just let those pressures go. Maybe you might even feel compelled to bully yourself into feeling better, like with toxic positivity and whatever. But this is the part where you just relieve that extra pressure. I oftentimes say something like, you don't have to force yourself to feel better right away. You don't need to bury your feelings. Usually you don't need to something, because there's always something that I feel like I need to do. Just say you don't need to. Just take that pressure off of you. Relieve it so that you don't have additional weight on your shoulders. And the last section is support. If you already did some reflection about this particular issue and you have some advice that you think will be helpful for yourself when that emotion or when that issue comes up again, this is the section of the empathy letter where you can express that and give yourself that advice. Whenever I learn new insights from my prayers that help me, I always add them at the end as well. And you don't necessarily have to have a solution. You know, if you're not in the headspace to really give yourself advice on what to do, maybe you just don't know what to do in that moment, you don't have to have a solution at the ready. This can just be a section where you reassure yourself that you, the writer, not you, the future listener, that you aren't going anywhere, and that you are a friend that you can call on for support, that you can trust and have your own back, and that you're there for whatever you need through thick and thin. I usually say something like, when you're ready to find a healthy approach, I've got your back. Or something like, I'm here for you forever and always. I always love ending my empathy letters like that. But yeah, that's my approach to empathy letters. And they've been instrumental to me in all of 2024. And I think I did some a little bit in 2023 as well. But they've been so helpful. They've meant the world to me. They've got me out of some really, really dark spaces. And very quickly, too, I've noticed that my turnaround after something upsets me is a lot faster than before. And I think this is a big part of why. So if you decide to try empathy letters, I would love to know down in the comments section, what does empathy feel like for you? If you have your own empathy formula that's different from mine, I'd love to know. Share it below and share how the experience worked out for you. The fourth thing that was really, really great about 2024, I know we kind of got caught up in the list because we were talking about empathy letters, but like, fourth thing is really, really great. We definitely have a happy ending to the year that I'm super happy about. So after years of struggling to get consistent income, to get a job, to start a business, and doing side hustles and all this stuff, after struggling with this for so long, I finally got a job. Finally. My God, I started my new job back in November. So it's been a little over a month. Let me look at the calendar. A month and a couple weeks. Yeah, a month and a couple weeks. It's my very first corporate role. And this accomplishment alone made the hell of 2024 worth it for me. Like, this alone made the whole year worth it. If I accomplished nothing else but this alone, I would have felt really, really great. So this was a really, really great moment for me. I'm super grateful. It seems like such a great job. I've been having a great time. Everyone's been so kind, so nice. I love the company culture. I really loved how organized the onboarding process has been for me. I feel like everything is broken down in a way that's very clear. I feel like I know exactly what's expected of me. And in moments where I'm kind of like not, like someone is very much like there for me to be able to like ask questions and bounce ideas off of and everything like that. And while there's definitely been like a huge learning curve, my manager has been so great. My team has been great. I feel very confident that if I show up, that if I take notes, that if I ask questions, the way that I vote, that have been for the past month and a half, and just take my time exploring the tools that I've been given, I'm confident that I'll be able to thrive here and to be successful. Fingers crossed. I hope so. So if you are deep in the trenches of the job hunt, I feel you. Okay. I was exactly where you are. Trust me. I know. It is traumatic. It is traumatic. It is actual trauma. My heart is with you. You are in my prayers. And I promise you that the hard work will pay off. This was the thing that made it worth it for 2024. The hard work truly did pay off. It will for you too, I promise. So, what is next for me in 2025? Well, it's January again. So I am turning 26 in a few weeks. The day I'm filming this, it's the 2nd. My birthday is the 20th. So in 18 days, I turn 26. I'm super excited for it because I'm going on a little trip with a friend. I'm super, super, super excited for my birthday for once. Because the last couple birthdays, I was just kind of dreading the fact that they were even happening. But I'm happy to turn 26. It's a special marker for me, too, because it kind of just put things into perspective for me. Because I realized that it's a sign that my mid-20s is nearly over. People say that it's like from 24 to 26. So at the end of 2025, my mid-20s will officially be over, essentially. It's also a sign that my 20s as a whole, like this decade of my life, is more than halfway over. But that really put things into perspective for me. It really did, because I realized that I didn't want to allow stress to burn the rest of this decade away from me. I didn't want to let my perception of what other people expect of me to hold me back from creating a life that I actually enjoy. 1 Timothy chapter 4 verse 12 says, "Don't let anyone look down on you because you are young, but set an example for the believers in speech, in conduct, in love, in faith, and in purity." That was a meaningful verse to me, not only because of the youth part, because while 26 is still young, I definitely feel like, okay, you're proper grown now. You know what I mean? Like, you're young, but you're definitely like not a kid anymore. Like, I feel like like we're into proper adulting territory. You know what I mean? Also, interpret this to mean don't let anyone's expectations of who you should be and where you should be at your age, whatever that age may be, weigh you down. And don't let people count you out because of that age as well. Set an example of what living authentically truly means. These milestones and these check boxes that we feel pressured to live by, they were designed by man. They were not designed by God. And because man is so fickle, that these expectations are constantly changing and constantly shifting with the changes in our society. So it's just like you might as well throw the whole damn book away. You might as well throw them all in the trash, 100% in the trash, and trust the path that you are currently on. Enjoying the journey as much as humanly possible, while like tackling the obstacles that you do face with a certain level of curiosity and excitement, instead of overwhelm and stress. Like when you feel those emotions coming up, like breathe and just try to see it as a puzzle, you know, try to approach it with a certain level of excitement and curiosity. That is easier said than done. I know, but it's definitely helped me. So I'm super excited for that era of my 2025. So let's talk about the theme for 2025, because the thing is, I don't really do resolutions. I don't really do like vision boards. They never worked for me. I like to keep it a little bit more abstract and just have like an overall theme for what I want the year to be. And I decided that the theme is fun and happiness. I don't think I truly gave myself permission to have fun in my 20s. But now it is time for me to let loose a little bit. Who knows? You know, it is time for me to have a little bit more fun. The most important part of this, though, is having fun authentically. I am still very much an introvert, so it is okay for me to be open to new things, to new experiences. But if I'm over it, I'm over it. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not going to force myself to have fun the way that extroverts do out of peer pressure. You know, having fun, going out and having fun is only worth it if it's actually fucking fun. You know, it actually has to be fun for you. So I'm not going to beat myself up or be mean to myself if my life doesn't look as fun as others on paper or on Instagram. Well, it's definitely not, because I don't have Instagram at this time. I'm debating if I want to do that to myself. Maybe. Who knows? We'll see. After January, I'll see how I feel about maybe creating an Instagram. We'll see. Anyway, the only thing that really matters is whether or not I'm having a good time. It doesn't really matter if anyone sees it. It doesn't really matter how they feel about it. It doesn't matter if it measures up to anybody else's fun. It's my fun. And that's all that really matters, you know? So who cares? You know, it's time for me to give myself permission to have fun in ways that are truly meaningful to me. And for me, that is through creativity and nostalgia. My gosh. Which brings me to this next thing that I am the most excited about when it comes to 2025. So for 2025, I am embarking on something I call my Black Girl Creative Journey. In the simplest form, a Black Girl Creative Journey to me is simply me as a Black girl allowing myself the freedom to explore every single creative outlet, every single creative interest that I have, as often as I reasonably can, especially given that I have a full-time job. Every opportunity that I can explore and express myself creatively, I will take it. And I'll be documenting it for you guys here on this YouTube channel. So why am I doing it? Because now that I have this full-time job that's 9 to 5, and it is, as much as I am enjoying it, it is admittedly not the most creative job. I don't have as much free time towards my hobbies that I used to. And I've come to realize that my joy on a day-to-day basis is directly impacted by the time that I spent exploring a creative outlet on a one-to-one basis. I've noticed it. I literally journal about it. On the days that I have not had the opportunity to explore some sort of creative activity, I was depressed. I was upset about something. I was angry about something. I was depressed or feeling insecure about something consistently. It's actually really remarkable. On a one-to-one basis, it has like a complete impact, like a serious impact on my mood and how I feel, and especially how I feel about myself. And this is especially true for the days that I work from home, because these are the days where I am alone. And while I love my own company, when I'm alone, these are the days where my insecurities have the most opportunities to bubble up. When I'm working outside, when I'm out and about and talking to people and doing my work and mingling and everything, like, it's just, they don't have, my insecurities don't have that many opportunities to even bubble up in the first place, because I'm out, I'm busy, I'm being a busybody, you know what I mean? But like, I'm in my own room, I'm in my own space, I have a lot of unstructured time. So even while I'm working or in between breaks, they just have more opportunities to bubble up for me. They just creep up on me. And that's not good. So I decided that this channel has got to be more fun for me. It does. I love the diversity writing content very, very much, but it is a lot of work. It's a lot of work. I can't work 9 to 5 just to come home and drag myself through more work. I can't do it. Okay? I just can't do it. If I'm going to be doing this, it has to be fun. I just need to have more fun with it. You know what I mean? I also just felt like I was stifling myself. Like, I was just keeping myself in this box and never really giving myself a chance to explore new things that were interesting to me. Hopefully documenting myself going through this journey while I explore my hobbies and share my thoughts and the things that pop up for me when I'm doing my journaling and my reflecting and the things that show up for me in my prayers. A lot easier on me and a lot more fun for me instead of having to just dive down and do all this research to put all these videos together, and it's just so much work, you know what I mean? I'll do it from time to time because I do genuinely love it, but it is a lot of work. I need a little bit more of a break, you know? I need to have more fun. I just do. But also, the most important reason why I'm embarking on this journey is for the quiet Black girl creative, the baby one inside of me, as well as all the others out there who might be watching this video and who can relate. You know, the introverted Black girl who loves writing and art and anime and nostalgic TV and video games from like the 90s and early 2000s. The Black girl who has these huge creative dreams, but kind of has to put them to the side for now to work full time or go to school or have a little bit more financial stability. And the Black girl that doesn't want to feel bad about that. Like, I am betraying myself for getting a job. Like, I do not feel that way at all. I was on the entrepreneur side of like YouTube and TikTok for far too long. They make you feel like the scum of the earth for getting a job. Like, my God. Honestly, like, I don't feel that way about that process, about this season that I'm in, where I kind of I have these creative dreams, but for now, they're just not at the forefront. I do need to commit to creating some stability for myself and building my wealth. And I'm happy to do that at such a great company, honestly. I knew people before I got hired at that particular company, and it's so nice to go into a space and already have mentors there and friends and everyone's so friendly that it's so easy to meet other people too. It's just really, really great. My new job was by far the best part of 2024 for me, but I still want to intentionally bring more light. And speaking of more light, I do want to intentionally bring more light and joy and creativity into my world whenever I can, every single opportunity that I can, regardless if it makes me money or not, regardless if I can build a career with it or not. You know, if it happens, it's great. But I want to do it simply because it makes my life more exciting to me and it makes me happy. I want to reach other Black girls who want to do the same thing. I want to reach other Black girls that resonate with this mission, journey, excavation into the soul. My hope is that by documenting this journey, that if it resonates with you to do something similar, that hopefully it can inspire you to do that and empower you to do that. My hope is for you to feel seen and heard and understood, and I hope that we can use art, all the different forms of art out there, to explore the deepest depths of ourselves, to heal our inner child and create a happier life where we feel more mindful, more grateful, more optimistic, and just authentic. That we feel like we are getting back in touch with who we are, who we've always been. If this is something you would like to do, if this deeply resonates with you, then you are in the right place. And I will be so honored and grateful to have you join me on this little Black girl creative journey. Whoever you are, wherever you are in the world, even if you're not a Black girl, like literally, like if this resonates with you, if this is what you want your 2025 to look like, or just your life to look like right now, if this is where you are, I would love to just be on this journey with you and to have you on this journey with me and inspire each other along the way. So let's do it. Let's make it happen.